Hello there and Merry Christmas. It is Christmas Eve morning and I'm getting an early jump on my eggnog bread pudding that I'm going to serve tomorrow with my Christmas dinner. And let's do it. While our bread pudding is in the oven, I'm going to make myself Christmas Eve dinner. And that is going to consist of a filet mignon that I purchased and Yorkshire pudding, which is traditional with beef. And we're going to finish our filet with this, which is tarragon horseradish compound butter. And that's another thing I rescued from my freezer. And that gave me the whole filet mignon idea. And it's just so lucky because I get to have Yorkshire, which is one of my very favorite foods. So let's do it. Ho, ho, ho. We're going to sear this filet and exude some of the juices for our Yorkshire. But first, we're going to season it with a little salt and pepper on both sides. And that'll give it a nice crust. It has been sitting at room temperature, which is where I like to start. And I'm heating up a little skillet on the stove over medium-high heat. And we're going to sear this guy up and use the juices and make the Yorkshire. Our pan is smoking hot and in she goes. Filet, sear. It's been about a minute. And this method that we're using is a method that steakhouses use. You sear and flip. And sear a little more and flip a little more. And flip and sear and flip and sear. And then you take it off the heat. And let's look at the next step. Going over again. And one more time. Oh, beautiful, crispy, browned, nice. I have now turned off the heat, and here's a big chunk of our compound butter, or you can use any kind of butter with some herbs and some garlic or whatever. I'm going to push this guy to the side. In goes that butter. And what we're going to do now is bake and bake and bake and bake and bake. And when this butter stops bubbling, you just set this guy aside to rest. I've turned it over, now we're going to baste the other side. The butter is very slow to melt, maybe it's a little frozen still. Anyway, the smells incredible, which means it's going to taste incredible. And Merry Christmas Eve dinner to me. Because we're going to use this liquid, or this fat and meat drippings for our Yorkshire, I'm going to scrape the bottom of this. I'm going to deglaze it with a little bit of bubbly. I happen to have a bottle open, and that'll help scrape up the brown bits. You don't need much. We'll just let that go until the bits are incorporated with our butter to turn the heat off. And that right there is great. I'll let that cool down a bit. Now, when you make Yorkshire, most of the time it's made with an oven roast, but I'm not making a whole roast beef for myself. That's why I did the whole butter and fat thing. But you take the drippings from the pan and use them like we're going to use this fat right here. Okay, it is time to make our Yorkshire pudding. We are going to start cracking some eggs into a bowl. Sorry about my arm. Because our bread pudding is almost done, it's time to make this. And it smells fantastic. It's going to be so good. So, my equation for Yorkshire pudding is the same as my equation for quiche. 1 egg for every ½ cup of liquid. So, we're going to start with 4, which means 2 cups of milk, but I like to beat the eggs first. In goes cup number 1. And cup number 2. And because I like my Yorkshire more custardy than a traditional popover, I use half the amount of flour as I did milk. So I'll be using 1 cup of flour. Okay, flour's in. We're going to whisk that up until it's very well incorporated. Our Yorkshire pudding mixture is ready, smooth and creamy. And I have sprayed a baking dish with some nonstick cooking spray, to which I'm going to add the meat drippings from our pan. This is going to make our Yorkshire taste horseradishy and tarragony like our meat because of the compound butter. So it's not like regular drippings, but it's going to give it a lot of flavor. There's also some accumulated juices on this plate where I've been keeping our steak, our filet mignon. So we're going to put those juices into spread them around evenly. And now we're going to add our mixture. We're going to fill this guy up about halfway. I'm going to make some more Yorkshire. And we're going to sprinkle the top with a little salt and pepper. Don't need much because the meat juices are seasoned. And this is going into a 425-degree oven, probably going to take about 20 minutes or so. And it's going to come out puffy and delicious. I made a little extra Yorkshire for sharing in some muffin tins, and that's done before the other one. So those just came out, and they were puffier a second ago. They fall down pretty quick, but they're going to be great. Our main pan of Yorkshire is now finished, and this, it smells so amazing. Horseradishy and tarragony, and see how puffy it is on the edges. And what we've done to test its doneness is to insert a knife, and when it comes out clean, it is done. And now that I've stuck a hole in it, it's going to deflate real quick. But then we are going to serve it up and eat it with our filet. Oh, and by the way, I had some baby broccoli that I got from Misfits Market, and I cooked some of that to go with it, with some of my mock hollandaise sauce, and we'll talk about that when the time comes. Here's our Christmas Eve dinner. Filet mignon, beautifully rare, as maybe you can see or not, and some baby broccoli. I like a little butter, actually a lot of butter on my Yorkshire pudding. And now we're going to top off this broccoli. A long time ago, I started making this mock hollandaise sauce because when you're in the catering business, things have to be stable so you can transport them or cook now, serve later. And hollandaise sauce is one of the least stable things. You know, it breaks up, it separates in just a matter of minutes. So this is equal parts mayonnaise, Dijon mustard, lemon juice, and sour cream, and it tastes pretty much like hollandaise sauce. So we're gonna dribble that onto our broccoli. And it'll be good with the meat too. And there you have our Christmas Eve dinner plate. It's going to be delicious, and I hope you all had a good Christmas Eve dinner yourself, because it's already Christmas Eve, so it's a little late for trying to make this. Maybe you could do it for New Year's Eve. Merry Christmas, and thank you for joining me for my Christmas Eve yumminess. And I'm really looking forward to it. And we'll finish up the bread pudding in just a little while when it cools down, and we'll have that for dessert.